A very good evening and welcome to another Team Flipperside webinar series, a panel discussion on sharing very important results from the books we have read. My name is Vidushanand Thara and I will be your moderator for this fine evening. Before I introduce you, Before I introduce our wonderful panelists, let me first tell you a little about Pick a Book. Pick a Book, which is a global movement for readers, they say the best way to learn is to teach somebody. We encourage the reading habit by getting all participants to select a book, read and research it thoroughly, and present a summary which also helps to hone his or her public speaking, communication, and presentation skills. By doing this, Pick a Book not only inculcates the habits of reading, but also helps to impart a wealth of knowledge. Without further ado, let me introduce you all to our amazing panelists for today. We have quite an interesting session lined up throughout the evening. Our first panelist is Tara Caldera, who's 13 years old and attends Museus College. She's always loved reading books, from fiction and fantasy to real life non-fiction. But she's been very busy these days and hasn't been able to spend a lot of quality time reading. But excited to be here because of her love towards reading books. So she hopes that joining Book it will help her to spend more time reading than she used to. Hi Tara, a very warm welcome to you. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing okay, thank you.
Tara, can you please tell us something about the book you will be talking about today?
Yeah, Purple Hibiscus was written by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and it was written in 2003. And this book was written in the role of Ibrahim Bangiran, that was the president. And this Chimamanda Adichie, she is a feminist, and this is closely related to her life story too. And this book is full of symbolism about how a young 15-year-old girl called Kambili, that is ruled by her father and held back by her father's religious beliefs, looks at this world through her eyes.
Thank you, Kara. It's a pleasure to have you here with us this evening. Our next panelist is Chenuli Uskodarachchi. She's 14 years of age and her hobbies are reading and writing. Her favorite books as of now are Land of Stories, Percy Jackson, and Lab and Harry Potter. Hi Chenuli, a warm welcome to you as well. How are you doing this evening?
Hi, I'm doing great and I'm really excited to be here.
Okay, Chenuli. Chenuli, can you please give us a brief introduction about the book you will be talking with us today?
Sure, I'll be talking about The Land of Stories. It is written by the American author Chris Colfer, and it's based on twins called Alex and Connor Bailey. And this is a really magical series about the twins' adventure through a land that they've never been before but read about all their lives. It's a really interesting book.
I wish to read it someday. It's a pleasure having you as well. And without further ado, let's get right into the questions. Thara, wow, who wrote the Purple Hibiscus?
Chimamanda Adichie.
Chenul, what is the plot of this book?
Well, as I said, it's based on twins called Alex and Connor Bailey, and they absolutely love reading books, and they mostly enjoy fairy tales. And their father and grandmother reads them fairy tales, and one day their grandmother gives them a book called The Land of Stories, which is their favorite storybook from childhood. So one day Alex discovered that this book is not like an actually normal book, but it's actually like a portal from the world they are to the world of storybooks. Alex and Connor go through this portal and they reach the land of stories for real. and they're in a land that they've never been before, but read about all their lives. So they actually become stuck in the land of stories, but a friend called Froggy, who is actually a frog, no, actually a human turned frog, helps them to escape by telling them about a special spell called the wishing spell, which worked when they collected some special items, and the wishing spell would grant the owner one wish, no matter how weird or how huge it was. And the twins go on a journey, and they have to face an evil queen who also wants the wishing spell items, and she's gonna use them for a selfish cause. And the story ending, it's a really magical and surprising, totally unexpected ending, and I'll tell you more about it later.
Okay. Then is it similar to Harry Potter or something different?
It's kinda, I guess it has magic, but it's not all about like wands and incantations like in Harry Potter. It's more about like, fairy tale kind of magic with all the fairy tale characters that we've grown up hearing about and all that. I guess it's different from Harry Potter.
Okay. Thara, what is your opinion on Mama's broken figurines? Thara, what is your opinion on Mama's broken figurines?
I think they expressed a sign of how Papa beat. Um, so before, she always used to replace the figurines that were lying on the shelf. She would always clean them and wipe them, and when Papa broke them, she would always clean up the broken figurines and then replace them with the new ones. But this time, she didn't replace them. I think that's a sign of the change that happened on this Sunday, because she was not going to hold on to that, and she um, didn't replace it, and instead she just threw it away.
Okay, Thara. Chenuli, what do you like best and more about this book?
I guess it's the creativeness of this book, the creativity of this book, because it's like never heard. It has like that never heard before quality, like having all those fairy tale characters in one place, like all the characters we've heard about since when we were young, and like it has so much amazing things happening, and it gets more like surprising as you like move up the series. Give me a moment. There's a train.
Okay, Chenuli. Now, Thara, why did Papa punish Kambili for sleeping in the same room as Papa Nukku?
It's so Papa Nuku is her father's father, so it's her grandfather. But even when they visit, which they do once a year, she's only allowed to stay at his house for 15 minutes. And Papa is so religiously, so into his religion that he even goes out of the way to not allow his children to associate his own father. And Papa Nukku is not a Roman Catholic as his children are, but he follows the traditional Igbo religion, which Papa is very against. And Kambili, when Kambili goes to Auntie Fioma's house, she has to sleep in the same room as Papa Nukku, and her father didn't want her sleeping with a heathen, which is someone of another religion, because he was so he believed his religion even more than he cared for his parents, and he didn't care that Papa Nukku was dying and he was extremely sick. He only cared about the fact that he was not of the same religion as him, and that's why he punished Kamili.
Okay, that is actually a fascinating concept. Now, Chenuli, I asked the last question from you, but you actually stopped in the middle of the answer. Do you want to continue or continue with the next question?
Yeah, I'll actually continue. So I was talking about what I liked about this book, and I talked about the creativity of this book, and I also want to say how this book is really basic and simple, because like a 9-year-old could understand it, and like it's not crammed with a lot of hard words, and like you don't have to check the dictionary by every page, which is a relief. So that's what I like about it again, and also how the series is really like it has a lot of magic in it, and it's the kind of magic I've never seen. Like unlike Harry Potter, like I said earlier, it's not all about like wands and doing spells and incantation stuff. Yeah, that's all I had for my answer.
What actually, Chenuli, the next question also goes to you. What lessons can you take away from this book?
Yeah, like there's a lot to take away from this book. So as I said, yeah, always have courage. Like believe in yourself, like believe that you can do anything no matter what comes in your way. Like the main character Alex has this quality in her. Like she believes that everything can be solved and every problem has a solution, and you just have to be creative, think out of the box, and have the courage to like try out what you think. And also the book also says to like keep hoping, never give up. This is what like the royals in this book do when the enchantress attacks them. Like even though your home is destroyed and you're starving, living in a cave, and you have no idea what's happening out of your doorstep, like keep hoping. Like you haven't given up yet, and you can still rise. You're still fighting, and just keep trying. And also, and don't be afraid to stand up for yourself, because even if the whole world is against you and you're suspected wherever you go and people think you're crazy, that's what happens to Alex Bailey. But don't be afraid to stand up and show who you are and how what good you can cause. And also never care what others think of you, and you can just try your best to show them uh, who you are truly.
Actually, Chaneli, I like the first lesson which you told me. From those lessons which you told, Chaneli, the what are the lessons you have applied in your life?
Mm, I guess courage.
Nice. Now, Thara, at what point in Jaja's life did he start understanding the world outside of his house and outside of his father's rules are different?
Yeah. When when the war was there and Jaja had to go to Auntie Fioma's house, um, when he went there, he realized that the other children that were living at Auntie Fioma's house, that were his cousins, lived a very different life than he was living. Um, so at his house, he was always restricted to things and everything. There were rules for everything, and Papa had made him a schedule, and he had to follow that schedule from each second of his life was planned. But when he went to Aunt Ifyoma's house, he saw that there were other children that actually enjoyed their lives and did what they wanted to do very freely, and he he was actually able to open up to Auntie Fioma, and he actually realized what he liked to do at their house. And I think he understood the world outside of just his house and his father, that his father always wanted him to live the life that his father wanted him to live, and he didn't want Georgia to go outside and step out and like explore the actual real world. And I think going to Auntie Fioma's house actually gave him a chance to do that, and I think that was great.
Nice, Thara. Now, Tara, I haven't thought about reading these genres or types of books. What made you think to read it?
Actually, in school, we were supposed to do it for literature. So when I first saw the book, I wasn't that interested because normally I'm a person that likes books that bend more into the side of fiction. But then after I started reading the book, I realized that that this actually had a lot of meaning in it, and I really really liked the book.
Nice. Now, Chenuli, what would you feel and what would you do if this story happens to you?
That's like my favorite question. I would be absolutely thrilled because I love reading books, and like it would be like a dream come true if one of the books, like if I could like go into a book and like see what's happening there for like for real life. And like I when I imagine it, like all the characters I've read about, like seeing them for real, that's really amazing. And I think it would kind of be like watching the movie after reading a book, but not exactly, because it would be much more realistic, and like I would be in the same situation as the characters are, and I would be like feeling the same things they are, like the danger or anything. If like someone's attacking the world, I would be attacked as well. But it would kind of be dangerous, but also a good experience.
I have no words to say. Mind blowing. Hats off. Then, Tara, what actually was the punishment?
Yeah. So when Kambili was with Papa and Muthu in the same house, she obviously got a punishment from Papa. And this, and if you think punishments at if you have experienced any punishment, if you think that's, if you think you felt bad, this is like 100 times worse. Even at the start of the book, when Jar Jar doesn't reply to Papa, he throws his belt at Jar Jar, and Kambili got a punishment a lot worse than that. And Papa, so this is what happens in the book. He sits on the bed, and because Kambili is sleeping, and then he says that once he also committed a sin and he was punished, and now he doesn't commit that sin again because he was punished for it. And I agree with that, as long as the punishment isn't like it isn't too bad. But here the punishment was that Kambili had to stand in boiling water. She had to stand while Papa poured the water that was just boiled straight from the kettle. And Kambili is so brainwashed into thinking that Papa is perfect, and he's like her god. And so she thinks that whatever he does is completely okay, and whatever he does is right. And so the smallest act of whatever they do that doesn't please Papa, and if they refuse something, or if they commit a sin, as he calls it, he loses control, and then he punishes them, and then he tells them that he's doing it for their own good. And he uses Papa. So throughout the whole book, it's the theme of silence versus violence, and speaking out, silence versus speaking out. And their family is so it's a very silent family. They don't talk or express their opinions, because if they do, they know if they tell Papa, and if they outwardly express what they actually feel about things that are happening, they know that they'll be punished, and things will happen. So Papa uses violence to oppress his family. So he whips them, he beats them, and he pours boiling water. And he tries to suppress this violence, and he tries to suppress the normal behavior of children by using violence on them. And while trying to do this, he leads he leads it to more violence. And yeah, so I think so you can't, so if you actually read the book, you will now according to what I said, you'll most probably think that he was probably like a really bad father, and he wasn't a good father at all. But if you actually do read the book, you realize that this is not true. He's actually a great father, but he was so brainwashed into thinking that religion comes before every single thing in life. And I get that religion is a huge part, and it plays a huge role in your life. That's true, but there is a certain extent to which you go to, and Papa he crossed the red line when he did things to his family, and he was blinded by religion. And I think that's where he made the mistake, because he was so brainwashed into thinking that and in the book it says that he wanted his children to go to heaven, and that's why he did all of this, because he wanted them to be perfect. And so you can see that even though he says that all of this is like, even though he does all of this, in the end, if you do read the book, you'll understand that it didn't do his family any good, or it didn't do him any good, or his children. So I think that was a huge mistake he made. So yeah.
Okay, Thara. Now, actually, I couldn't cry, but actually, I laughed because the fact that I laughed for this punishment is that I have had the same experience in my life as with those punishments. So I know how Kamili has felt. Okay, okay. Now, finally, unfortunately, we have come to the end of another interesting Flipside webinar. And with that, we conclude the Flipside webinar series organized by the Pick a Book Sri Lanka. And as you know, Pick a Book Sri Lanka, the vision is to change the participant's sense of self through the wonders of literature and inspire change. Thank you so much once again to the presenters, Tara and Chenuli, for your time, and all of you who joined in with us today. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. This is your moderator, Vidusha, signing out.